Hello and welcome to the AdFlex Visa Click to Pay webinar. Hi everybody, many thanks for joining our webinar on Click to Pay. It's great to see so many people with us today. Today's webinar will demonstrate the benefits of Click to Pay in the all-important checkout space. We all know that there is a lot of focus these days on improving the checkout experience and taking away as much friction away from that as possible, and Click to Pay is certainly a product that will help do that. Before we start, just to note that the webinar will be recorded and will be available to be shared later this week. In addition, we thank Visa for supporting this session. Now let's kick off, and I'm going to hand you over to my colleague Ben, and I shall do that now.
Thank you, Pat, and hi everyone. Thanks for joining. It's good to see so many familiar names popping up. Whilst we can't see you or hear you, can certainly see some names there. So let's jump into the payment landscape, and let's start off by discussing how that landscape has changed over the last couple of years. For example, with the recent pandemic and new payment regulations such as PSD2 and strong customer authentication, all have resulted in a huge shift in the way merchants sell online and the way buyers, or we can refer to them as cardholders, purchase products or services likewise online. Now, with the advances in technology, such as tokenization and card on file, the landscape has changed for the better, all of which is driving next-gen customer experience and online digital payments. Now, if we take a deeper dive briefly, JP Morgan reports that mobile commerce has seen a growth of 14% annually since 2019, so 14%, with a big shift to online payments, mostly in age groups accustomed to purchasing via the traditional bricks and mortar route. So, for example, in person, retail stores and what have you. The question is, how have payment processors, banks, and merchants responded to this growing need? And that's a question we're going to answer as the session develops over the next 30 to 45 minutes. Now, before we do answer that question, let's just talk about e-commerce overall for the moment. So whilst e-commerce is growing, it does present a number of challenges. For example, cardholders and merchants alike expect the same level of security to alleviate fraud, yet at the same time, they expect the best user experience possible. A UX that we've all become accustomed to and we all experience in a face-to-face or retail environment, all resulted in one keyword, and that keyword being convenience. Convenience, I'll highlight again. Now, online checkouts, in our eyes, are one of the weakest spots in the payment ecosystem, so the opposite to convenient. And traditional guest checkouts can present many issues for the cardholder, such as manual card entry, with the average checkout taking 2 to 2.5 minutes to complete, which is quite a substantial time when you consider it. Now, overall, this has highlighted an ever-growing need to simplify a common practice. And here we can introduce a new innovative checkout option called Click to Pay. So what is Click to Pay? I'm sure you're asking. Click to Pay, in short, provides an intelligent and secure checkout experience and is here to replace manual card entry. That's very high level. By leveraging device, IP, and browser data, Click to Pay enables the secure storage of card details, bypassing the need for the returning customer to input their details again. Now, some great advantages of Click to Pay: it's multi-scheme supported and follows an EMVCo payment standard. So in short, it's supported by Visa, MasterCard, Amex, and Discover. And it's here to replace individual efforts and individual checkout buttons such as Visa Checkout and MasterPass. So, like any new payment button, option, or method, there's a number of terms that I'm sure many of you will use. The market will take time to adopt. However, as issuers enable more cardholders and merchants offer a new fast and secure checkout method, cardholders will become more familiar with that logo, as you can see presented on the screen for the moment on the left side. And look, that logo being click to pay in time will provide trust, comfort, and without repeating ourselves, this buzzword of great user experience. Now, a checkout method which will optimize the cardholder journey and support tokenization to help reduce online payment fraud. In short, Click to Pay is here to simplify online payments, the checkout process, and remove legacy friction points from that. Now, before we talk further on the merchant side, let's just take some time to look at how simple it is for a cardholder to set up a profile and be able to use Click to Pay. And we'll touch on setting up a Click to Pay account via the issuer and also via the scheme, so the likes of Visa, MasterCard, and Amex. So switching our focus then to the cardholder. The diagram or the flow demonstrated on the screen demonstrates the simple method of cardholder enrollment. Cardholders can set up a profile today via the card scheme, and they can do this via any merchant supporting Click to Pay at the point of checkout or via the scheme's webpage. Alternatively, cardholders can do this via their banking app, and in time, issuers will bulk provision, essentially meaning enrollment is automated. Now, once a Click to Pay profile is open and your relevant cards are associated as a cardholder, you can add multiple card types, whether that's whether that's debit or credit card, and multiple schemes, whether that's Visa, Amex, Discover, or MasterCard, all of which card details are secured using industry standard tokenization, again, giving the cardholder that additional comfort one would expect. Now, when we talk about security and compliance, it wouldn't be right if we didn't touch on SCA very briefly. I'm sure as many of you are aware, as part of the Payment Service Directive 2, so PSD2, SCA, Strong Customer Authentication, was introduced this March to protect payments and to decrease fraud. So with our focus here, online payments, decreasing fraud in that scope. Now, pleased to say that SCA support is built into the Click to Pay payment flow from the get-go, therefore protecting the cardholder and merchant alike, and essentially removing any additional considerations from the flow. So before I jump into some use cases, I wanted to give a very high-level first summary of Click to Pay. So look, Click to Pay offers a great opportunity, and the multi-scheme approach offers a simplified integration to optimize the checkout experience and, more importantly, reduce cart abandonments. Now, we have worked with the schemes for well over a year now to ensure that a strong user experience is presented and an easier way of transacting. Leveraging this industry standard, one integration does ensure the customer experience is consistent across all markets, all of which offers user trust and an easy and secure method of payment. Now, if we do briefly touch on strategy of the card schemes and issuers, ramp up is really going to kick in come early 2023. So both the schemes and the issuers will have awareness campaigns starting early next year. Some have already started brief campaigns, but as I say, the ramp up really will kick in a few months' time. And look, as a merchant supporting Click to Pay today, you are laying the network in preparation, and we're very confident that early adopters will reap the reward as mass cardholder and consumer adoption continues. Now, we'll start to look at some user journeys now for cardholders with existing profiles using recognized and unrecognized devices. Just so you're familiar with that term, Click to Pay uses many data points such as device, IP, and browser to authenticate a user and identify whether that device is subject to being recognized or not. So starting with Alex, Alex is looking to buy a jumper, by the way, or a sweatshirt online, and Alex has an existing profile with Click to Pay using his recognized device. Now, Alex has added his jumper to the basket, and once satisfied with his other purchases, so the black t-shirt as well, Alex is ready to hit checkout and chooses Click to Pay as the payment method. As you can see, his recognized device and profile has presented 2 cards already registered to his Click to Pay profile. And it's important to highlight here that once a profile is built to Click to Pay, you can either use an existing card already registered, or you can add additional card or cards to your profile at the appropriate time. Now, in this case, Alex is happy with his purchase. He's happy with the card that he's already got registered to his profile, being a Visa credit card, and simply clicks pay the $45.50, and that checkout and purchase is complete. And look, Alex's jumper will now be dispatched at the relevant time, and it clearly shows that look, the online purchase was completed in fewer clicks, optimizing Alex's experience. So that's from a retail side. If we move over to example 2 and look at user Felix, Felix needs to pay for a taxi home after a social event and is using his existing Click to Pay profile on a recognized device. So once Felix inputs his journey details into the taxi app, he clicks continue to payment, and Felix uses his Click to Pay profile to pay for the service. Safe to say, Felix got home, and again, the payment journey was as seamless as his online booking with that particular taxi outfit. So the first 2 examples there are remembered users using recognized devices. If we move over to user journey 3, and this is now moving to Monica. Monica wants to buy a new entry-level kettlebell. However, this time she wants to make the purchase on her work phone. We assume she's at lunch or it's after work hours. So being a work phone, it's an unrecognized device. Now, similar to the other examples, Monica will click checkout as you would by standard, but because she's using an unrecognized device, she will need to enter her email address for her Click to Pay account. At this point, Monica is recognized as a user, however, she needs to be authenticated as this Click to Pay user in order to gain access to her registered cards. So in this event, Monica will receive a one-time password sent via text message. On receipt, she inputs it into the checkout screen and clicks confirm. Now, once logged in, similar to the other users now, Monica has access to her profile and can see the number of cards associated. In this case, again, Monica chooses her Visa credit card, and because she's using an unrecognized device, Monica is now subject to strong customer authentication. So in this case, Monica's card issuer will send a one-time password as presented on the screen for Monica to input into the checkout, and once submitted, that transaction again, oops, sorry, shot the gun there, that transaction is completed. So hopefully the 3 examples shown present how easy and simple the Click to Pay functionality is to use and the number of friction points that are actually removed from the checkout. Now, to highlight at this stage, the need for a simple multi-scheme payment method is long overdue, and Click to Pay offers innovation when required for the next gen checkout and will optimize the payment flow for any merchant or card holder using it. So look, we're very confident that once the issue and the scheme ramp up starts next year, that this is going to be a very popular payment method amongst consumers, and I'm sure in due course it will also move into the B2B space as well. So hopefully I haven't bored you too much, the listeners out there. I'm hoping that what we've presented there gives you a very good understanding of what Click to Pay has to offer. I'll now pass over to my colleague Pat to answer some of the questions that I believe you raised before today's event. Over to you, Pat.
Yeah, hi. Thank you very much, Ben, for that. That's very useful to hopefully to everybody out there. I mean, just to reiterate, the click to pay, that there are a number of user journeys, and we've covered the where the user is remembered. So it truly is a kind of a one minimal click standard. There was one use case that wasn't kind of covered in any great detail, but just to bring you up to speed on that one. If it's a brand new user, then they need to be onboarded onto there. But there's this, as Ben pointed out, the schemes are working and with the issuers to get some kind of mass enrollment done, so it becomes a lot easier to do, and that should roll itself out in the next quarter, I guess. In the beginning of next year, we should start to see some activity on that. Now, this is the time now to answer your questions, and hopefully we can answer them for you. If any we're not able to answer, or you can't think of anything at the time, please feel free to reach out to us, and we're happy to come back to you and talk you through the any details. And that kind of covers really the business case, the technical implementation, how the APIs work, and how you can leverage further improvements in the checkout by using the Adflex API to do this for you. So I'm now open to any questions, so feel free, please.
Sure. So just to highlight to our attendees here, you can raise questions via the go-to platform on the right side. Some of you have also raised some questions prior to today's event at the point of registration. So we're happy to run through some of those to start with, and I'll try not to put you into the corner too much here, Pat. So one of the first questions raised was, what Adflex services can we use Click to Pay with? So question to you, Pat, if you can jump through that, please.
Okay, right from the word go, we looked at Click to Pay, and because it was a kind of universal standard and it addressed the problem of fragmentation, i.e. with Masterpass, Mastercard's Masterpass and Visa's checkout, and Amex's checkout as well. This was a great opportunity to re-engineer some of our APIs to work with this particular solution. So we have built it in already. It's available in our test sandbox and also under certain cases in the production environment as well. It's available on our PayPage solution, which is a hosted PayPage, which has an API to initiate a transaction. You get the option, or this is the developer gets the option to give the merchant the choice of what kind of payments you're going to present to the customer, to the cardholder, be it standard cards, Click to Pay, and the order of presentation is under your control as well. So that's something we have kind of developed, and we're still developing it because we are kind of watching the market very closely, and we want to make sure that this is extremely easy to use and easy to implement.
Thanks, Pat. We've had a live question come through as well here asking how Click to Pay is different to 3D Secure. Now, I guess to quickly jump in with that, and Pat, by all means, pick up separately as well. Click to Pay is effectively a payment method at checkout, so it's replacing manual card entry, and it's not different to 3D Secure. It will still use 3D Secure as any normal card payment. I think it's important to highlight here that this new payment method is to replace manual card entry and try and optimize the cardholder experience. But look, all security standards and whatnot and regulations will still be followed. So 3D Secure is very much in scope to the attendee that's raised that question.
And I just want to add something. I mean, contrary to expectations, the new 3D Secure, i.e. EMV 3D Secure, has actually improved the checkout experience. So it's a kind of a double thing, really. Once you're authenticated and your card is registered, then it's all taken care of for you. So therefore, the chances of getting an authentication challenge again is much reduced using the wallet.
Sure. Thanks, Pat. Another question, and we know this has been quite a popular one for attendees who registered before the event. So is this direct competition for Apple Pay or just a way of improving the normal checkout? Are you comfortable answering that one, Pat, or I can?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's an interesting question. Yeah, the Click to Pay is not a competitor to Apple Pay really, because at the end of the day, it's the user has a choice, and obviously bearing in mind that Apple Pay on a mobile device is only 50% of the market. So it's within the closed ecosystem of Apple. Apple Pay is kind of where you're pushed towards, but Click to Pay is more generic. It's able to be scheme agnostic. It works with Visa, MasterCard, Amex, and Discover, and it's the same experience for any of those particular card holders. If you've got those cards, then if you go to a Click to Pay checkout, then it's all kind of universal.
Great, thanks, Pat. And that's another question that's just been answered, and you've kind of asked, sorry, and you've kind of just answered it. So, what schemes are currently supported? So, I'll pass that one over to you, Pat, as well, because obviously you're the project lead on this.
Yeah, sure. I mean, schemes currently, it's Visa, MasterCard, Amex, and Discover. From our point of view, Adflex are supporting Visa, MasterCard, and Amex, and we have gone live with Visa and MasterCard, and we're about to go live with Amex. Discover, we're in conversations with them at the moment, and it's my guess that other card schemes will jump onto this once we see some traction in the market.
Great, thank you, Pat. A question, I'll probably answer this one. So how will the public be made aware of Click to Pay? So as touched on earlier in the session, there's going to be a huge ramp up from the card issuers and the card schemes early next year to promote this new payment method. And look, various card issuers are going to be bulk provisioning their cards. So effectively, the enrollment process is already automated. Now, I know from personal experience, banking with a particular UK issuer, that I could set up a Click to Pay account in literally 2 clicks via my banking app. So it's very much the case, you go to manage cards, add Click to Pay, see a bit of a marketing pitch, what Click to Pay is, and it was as seamless as that. And I've started using Click to Pay with the various merchants in the UK that support it. And look, Click to Pay is not, just to touch on that, isn't just a UK product. It was rolled out in the US over a year ago, I believe, and it is used in other regions as well. So I guess within the next few months, this whole public awareness and marketing ramp up is really going to kick in. And look, if there are attendees out there that are interested in ways they could promote Click to Pay to their own client base and a way of optimizing their checkouts, please contact us after the event, because we're also have multiple marketing opportunities to support our clients in promoting this new method. There's quite a few questions actually being raised. So if we look at the next one, so we've covered Apple Pay, B2C or B2B focused. Pat, do you want to answer that one?
Sure. Yes, this is a wallet, so effectively it's B2C focused. But as you know, in the B2C market, the use flows are fairly well established now, where what happens from the checkout, sorry, from once you reach the checkout onwards is a fairly kind of known thing, but the improvements are where we can take out some of the pain points, or maybe introduce the Click to Pay option earlier in the checkout process, so they can buy straight from the image that they click on directly. As far as B2B goes, well, that's a market we're very much involved with, as Adflex traditionally have worked with all the schemes and the issuers on their kind of high level B2B kind of projects. Now, B2B is always playing catch up to the consumer market, and because effectively these are the same people who are consumers as well as working for these B2B type companies, the expectations are converging. Now, we don't have solution to a problem because we're looking at the problem still at the moment. How can Click to Pay help the B2B process? Well, all I can say at this point is that we have the tools, we have the knowledge, and we have the understanding of B2B workflows, which tends to be more complex than B2C workflows. So watch this space.
Thanks, Pat. A question I certainly expected: costs. What as a merchant, what are the costs associated with accepting payments via click to pay? Now, from a merchant service perspective and having your relevant merchant IDs associated with your accounts, obviously this is an e-commerce product, so you'd need an e-com MID associated with your AdFlex service. In a nutshell, this is still flowing as a card payment, so it would just be subject to your usual merchant service fees charged by your acquiring bank. Hopefully that covers that one. I did see one other question pop up. Just 2 moments, Pat. It's the same questions we've already had. One final one. How can we learn more about click to pay? So I think I'm probably touched on some of Pat's space here, but as a follow-up to today's event, this session is recorded and it will be shared with you within a couple of days by Claudie in our marketing team. We'll also be building a lot of content over the coming weeks and months via our website and via various ebooks and hopefully case studies to share with our client base, so you can really see the benefits. Now, in the meantime, there is a click to pay landing page on our site. There is a 90-second video again presenting those high level benefits of using this service as well. And Pat, that comes to a conclusion of all the questions asked by the participants today.
Okay, I just want to add some extra points in there as well. The click to pay ecosystem is, we've encompassed it into our API, as we said before. We do make available the option in our API. It's actually quite a straightforward one, and without getting too technical here, because I appreciate the audience may not be as full of developers. There is a simple change you need to make in order to invoke alternative payment methods on the API, and also we provide a sandbox so you can experiment and with a range of test cards, and you can see how it works without having to put it into production. So please feel free to reach out to us if you want to do that.
Thanks for that note, Pat. And something, we'll certainly be doing, and our marketing team over the coming days and weeks, if we haven't already spoken to you regarding this service, and conscious some of you joining today, we have already, we will be reaching out, highlighting again the benefits and how easy this service can be to embed with your existing integrations with AdFlex. So I think that brings the session to a close, Pat. So
okay,
thank everyone for asking the questions, and hopefully, as I say, this session has been helpful.
Yeah, and thank you from me as well. And I've realised I kind of omitted to introduce myself and Ben at the beginning of the talk. But my name's Pat Birmingham. I'm head of product, and Ben, my colleague, is working in our biz dev team, and he is available to be contacted, like I am as well. So I kind of deal more with the technical and the use cases and problems, and if you're looking for solutions to particular issues or to try and reduce the impact or have a holding hand, then that's what we're here for. So thank you very much for joining, and like Ben said, the recording will be available shortly. Thank you very much.
Thanks everyone, take care.